good morning and welcome to the Sports Bar Show live from Bacup Borough Football Club. Fingers crossed we are going live on Facebook. I'm hoping so. It's something completely new here at Bacup Borough. We're trying to work with different software packages, and hopefully if this works, we will be doing this every single week on the Sports Bar Show, and it will be fantastic because you'll be able to be live and interactive with us. And we might change the times a little bit, but absolute pleasure as always, Brent, to be with you this Monday morning. At what time do you make it? Just to make sure we are live.
It's about 10:35.
10:43.
Slightly ahead of me there.
And you know something? I press this button. Your face is there, sir. As if by magic. As if by magic. But we've got quite a few things to talk about this week. As always, we will be we're going to be picking up and talking about what happened at the weekend. A fantastic 4-0 victory for Brent Peters' side against St Helens Town. What did you make of the game, Brent, from your perspective? You were happy with the guys' display?
Absolutely first class. First class on a really difficult, horrendous, heavy pitch. I mean, the pitch, as you've seen on the videos, it disintegrated, and we had to play 90 minutes, both teams. But I've got to credit, as much as I'm going to praise my boys up, because my boys, they were different class, and to score 4 goals on a difficult surface, keep a clean sheet, not concede any, could have been more. I've also got to praise St Helens as well, because there were 2 honest teams out there on that pitch. Had there not have been, it could have been an horrendous afternoon for the officials, because the pitch was in such a state, or got in such a state, that it was a licence for lots of indiscipline that could have gone on. But thankfully, I mean, I know I've got an honest bunch, and it's funny because we were in the referee's room before the game, and he was making 1 or 2 points. And I actually brought it up with the St Helens manager. There's not really ever been any issues between Bacup Borough and St Helens, and you know, every game we've played, it's always been played in the right spirits. Both teams wanted to play football. There were 2 groups of honest lads, and that made for a good afternoon for the officials because it made their life a lot easier. But as for Bacup Borough, they never cease to amaze me in Dave Felgate in the fact that you really can't play football on the surface that were presented to them on Saturday. But you know what? Some of the moves, some of the slick passing, the way that they played on a really difficult. They never ceased to amaze both of us. It were incredible. We scored 4 goals, and it just shows you that how we were ahead of St Helens in the fact that it was. Every goal we scored came from the set piece, but the set pieces were coming because of they just couldn't handle the slick passing, the movement, the sharpness of our lads. You go to the opening penalty. Callum Hewitt has swiftly knocked the ball past his marker. He's advancing into the box, and he's been taken out. Stonewall penalty. Laquan Isdale, captain, cool as you like, finishes it. And then we have another one where Michael Gervin's quick feet in the box, they couldn't live with that. They tried to put a challenge in. Again, Stonewall penalty. Laquan steps up, puts the ball in the net, cool as you like. 2, he's taken over the penalties now since Anthony missed the other at Shelley. And then we go and score the 3rd goal, which I thought was absolutely different class. I mean, it was a free kick. Yeah.
But he did have one of those against Atherton in midweek, and he hit the post with that one. It was almost a carbon copy.
Yeah, it was. But Michael Gervin's got that in his locker.
You can't do interviews, though.
Listen,
sorry, Gerv.
It's a cruel world out there. His teammates and ex-teammates were giving him.
I know, because they've been getting a lot of grief about that.
About what? Yeah.
I had to do 4 takes with him. 4
takes.
Takes.
Yeah, really. No wonder Dave Felgate.
Even the last one weren't right clever.
No wonder Dave Felgate were looking at his watch and he weren't doing his warm-ups. But listen, if he's going to
What a
put in
cracking lad.
let me tell you, if he's going to put a performance in like that every game, then he can do interviews every game, and he can cut out his warm-ups, because he was quality on Saturday. He was immense. Great goal he scored, and then just to finish it off, another free kick, quality ball in, and Joel, who's come on as a substitute, he's got a bullet header. And it was a resounding victory, and well deserved. And I can't give the credit enough to the boys, because it was difficult out there. Believe me, for everybody, everybody.
Well, you talk about the goals, and luckily enough, we've got the goal action here.
If you want me to watch that goal, you need to get me some really big high photos, because I'm struggling to see it.
I'm going to get an HDMI cable so we can allow it on the TV. We're going to get the seat and boot of it, don't we?
Same place.
Yeah, so there was the goals from the weekend. As you said, Brent, taken really well. Two cool penalties, fantastic free kick, and then a brave header in the end from Joe, getting his head in where sometimes it hurts.
Yeah, he's done well. He's done well, but he, he's probably made up for the.
He spent a lot of time coming off the bench, hasn't he, for you this season, and he's always done a job for you.
Listen, he's a quality player, and he's a quality lad. But we've got to remember, he's not only is he from another country, so everything's totally new to him, different culture, different ways of playing. He's come from the Marseille Academy. He's come in here, and he's got to learn. He's like everybody at every level. He's got to learn the game in certain instances, both in possession, both out of possession. Different, where he plays on the pitch, he's got to learn his roles and responsibility in that. So we've tried him both ways. We've given him starts. When we've given him starts, he's in some instances, it's like at times, without being disrespectful, it's been like having 10 men, because out of possession, he just doesn't know where to be, what to do, and how to close.
But I've
down.
noticed over the last couple of weeks or last couple of months, that part of his game, it is growing. It is growing. Of course,
it will do. It will do.
His defensive duties.
We talk to him all the time. We're coaching him all the time. We're working with him all the time, and he's got to understand this. He was, one thing's for sure, when Joel eventually leaves the Bacup Borough Football Club, having worked with myself and Dave Felgate, believe you me, that lad will be a player. I mean, a good, very, very good top all-round player. He knows where. Having said that, I listened to Roy Keane's interview yesterday when Martial missed that complete sitter against Liverpool. Well, the other night, Joe were in exactly the similar situation. He's done all the hard work. He's got half a yard on his marker. He's facing the goal. He's facing the goalkeeper. He only has to be he's only got to be composed, pick his spot. And like I told him on Saturday, in my pre-match team talk, I would have put my house on Joe scoring in that situation against Alatalar. Unfortunately, he went for power, he got behind it, and he hoofed the ball, and it's still travelling now over the railway line and on its way to Liverpool. And I said to him, and that's why I've got a caravan now on Bacup Borough, because I'm homeless, I've lost my house. But You back your...
I bet it just went right over his head. Did he get lost in translation?
No. He understands. He fully understands. He don't underestimate him. He definitely understands.
Brilliant stuff. Well, lots to chat about. We are going to be picking up. We're going to be chatting about quite a few things. Of course, the big game yesterday, Liverpool versus Manchester United. We want to be picking up on that, don't we, at some stage this morning. But on Saturday, I had the pleasure of catching up with the infamous, should I say that, famous or infamous, Bacup Ultras. And this is what they had to say ahead of the game on Saturday. They're a big fan of yours, you know. Well, I am chatting to the Bacup Ultras, the gang of brothers that stand behind the goal there here at the Brian Boyd Stadium. Let's just go around you guys. What's your name and then pass it on?
My name's Patrick and I'm the leader. My name's Connor.
Go on. We'll watch it back after we finish it.
My name's Josh.
My name's Matty.
Excellent. And what do you think to the season so far down here at Bacup Borough?
Plenty of ups and downs, I think, but we're doing pretty well. I think pick up some form and we'll do well.
Yep. How long have you been supporting Bacup Borough then? How long have you been coming to watch?
Well, we're coming to watch just like ages ago, but we were just like walking around, like me and Pat just like walking around, but then we actually formed a group and just started properly watching.
Because you're on social media, you guys, aren't you?
Yeah.
Do you want to give us your Twitter handle or your Instagram handle or whatever?
Instagram, Bacup_Borough_Ultras.
And what kind of stuff do you put on there, guys?
We just post about like matches and like how we played and stuff and like stuff like that.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Who's this chap here who's trying to get off?
Kyle, he's not really an ultra, but he's a new member, so.
And are you open to new people joining you at the ultras?
Yeah, they got to bring a strong performance.
We're open to new members.
And if they get it, best way to get in touch with you is through Instagram, is it?
Yep. All our personal ones, which people know probably already.
Let's have a cheer for Brent Peters and his team.
Hey!
Give us a song.
Yeah, you can do that in the game. Just
do the Harry Turner one. Come on.
He's better. What? He's better than you. He's better than you. Harry Turner. He's better than you.
Nice one, guys. Well, that was the Bacup Ultras on Saturday before the game. I caught them just coming through the turnstiles about 2 o'clock, and I thought I'd have a little chat with them. But a brilliant bunch of lads.
Let me tell you, it hasn't gone unnoticed, everything that they do, even in the changing rooms. The lads talking about them all the time. Long may that continue. And it's lads like our ultras. A few young lads have got together and decided to nickname themselves the Bacup Ultras.
Yeah.
And they've gone down in history, really, because in all my time here at Bacup Borough, in 22 years, there's never been a Bacup Ultras. And even prior to that, there's definitely not been a Bacup Ultras, because Ultras were never even really thought about then. So they have gone down in history, and what they're doing is it's young lads like we've got here, which we're creditable with, is the fact that it's young lads like that build fan bases for football clubs, because that'll grow now, because they'll know people, the friends at school, and come up, it's great, it's great fun. I mean, it's just a shame when we were playing Atherton Allire on Tuesday. I know for a fact that they said to young Sean, who's our kit man, they said to young Sean, well, I'm saying he's our kit man. I mean, I walked in the other day and I thought, I can hear somebody talking. It was unbelievable. I don't know what happens at this football club. I walked in the other day and I thought, there's somebody talking. What's he doing here, talking a bit funny language? And he's there with a wig on. And he's reckoning to be Michael Jackson, the late Michael Jackson. Believe me, and I'm thinking, hang on, what we got?
We've got to mention this though, because Sean Greenwood he's got his own YouTube page.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
Take yourself along there. He'll be doing all the body popping.
To be honest, he's quite. I don't like telling him.
He's talented.
He's quite good, and he's working hard at it. But I think, you know what with Bacup Borough Football Club, what's my kit? I turn around, my kit man, he's got a wig on and he's talking like the late Michael Jackson, and then he's got the moves like him.
Grabbing his crotch.
Honestly, unbelievable. On top of that, and then the other week, sorry Ultras, I'll come back to you in a minute, But the other week, let me tell you, last week, and this isn't going unnoticed in the changing rooms. I put LinkedIn on, and who's on LinkedIn? Looking like the late Roy Orbison look-alike, with loads of followers, and he's there singing a tune. He's my fitness and psychology coach, Jimmy Petruzzi. I'm thinking, what? What's coming on here at Bacup Borough? So now I've got two guys.
People actually go to Jimmy for spiritual well-being.
Honestly, Jimmy, hopefully we'll have him on next week because he's funny.
Legend will be coming on.
Honestly, Jimmy Petruzzi is funny. But having said that, so is Sean Greenwood. But blimey, when I look at,
how come you attract him here at Bacup?
Well, we attract them all. I tell you seriously,
They've all
got
come
some
through that door.
sparkheads in here. We have some sparkheads at this football club, believe me. But going back to the ultras and joking apart, it's brilliant what they're doing, you know, and to get recognition from our opponents, supporters and committee on Saturday telling us we're complimentary towards them, saying that they were, you know, intelligent, well-mannered kids, which is quite remarkable in this day and age because that says volumes and speaks volumes for their upbringing and the lads themselves, you know. And let's hope we can build on that because, like I said, they're doing a great job and they're a big part of our team now.
They certainly are. Well, we are going to be chatting about the Liverpool and Manchester United game. We've got another few things. I know that Brent wants to get a few things in this morning. We are doing a live stream test. If you are watching us now on Facebook, that is good because that means that all this is working. And hopefully over the next couple of weeks and the next few months, we'll be doing quite a few things live here from the sports bar at Bacup Borough Football Club. But one of the main sponsors here at Bacup Borough, and has been for quite some time, is Boises, and this is an advert of some of the stuff, just a few things they do.
I kinda like you.
Good morning. Yes, it is Panda. I did promise you that a Panda would be interviewing Brent Peters of Bacup Borough. Good morning, Brent.
Good morning, Pedro. Listen,
Who came up with the name of Pedro?
Listen, I've just been saying that there's people at this club that's a Spanish out of the nut. And no longer have I just said it that you turn up in a blinking in a panda suit.
I wouldn't last 2 minutes down Bacup High Street with this. It's roasting.
Well, let me tell you, a good friend of the club's, a guy called Ross Johnson, he spent a few well, probably an hour or so down Bacup promoting it when we actually introduced Pedro at the beginning. So I know how you're feeling.
Right, let's take this off. Stop messing around. That's been on a shelf for when was the last time that was worn down the high street? Quite a bit ago.
Yeah, it probably is, because we can't, we can't,
What was the idea?
We can't get that Spanish short of a duck to wear it.
What was the idea behind the panda, though? What's the...
Well, we just
got the black and white?
A few years ago, Ross were helping us out at the time, and he said you should have a mascot. You should have everybody else. If like, is it Bertie B at Burnley?
Yeah.
And, Fred the Red at Man United.
They're all over.
They're all over, aren't they? So at the end of the day, he said you should have a mascot. What about a panda? It's black and white. It's your colours. And we'll call it Pedro. In fact, over there's a shirt for it. It's got its own number 9 shirt, Pedro. In fact, it probably might score a few more goals than ever number 9. Sorry, who's ever got number 9 at the minute. But yeah, no. We haven't got. If we had somebody that's prepared to, we could actually. If we had got somebody that could wear that regularly, we could really promote it. In fact, so it could visit children's parties and have a bit of fun with it on pitch side. And
it's a great idea.
It's a great idea. Of course it is. Yeah,
and it's a brilliant. A lot of the clubs have them. Most of the clubs have them now, and it's just a good way of getting the kids interacting with the football club as well.
It's exceptional, but you've got to get the right. You've got to get the person that's willing to not only wear it, but they've got to be good with the kids and interact and have a bit of fun.
Well, we'll talk a little bit of football in general. We were having a chat yesterday about the Liverpool Man United game because it was on yesterday afternoon. You were watching the match. A lot's been said after the game regarding matters within the club. What's your take on it all?
Well, I'm gonna start. You know that this programme, we've named it Talking Balls.
Yeah.
Now,
and there's a lot of balls.
I could be talking balls with what I'm going to come to, but I've done my research and I really don't think I'm talking balls. But if I am, everybody will have their opinions. But it goes, listen, the gulf with the two teams yesterday, and we knew this was going to happen. It weren't all on yesterday's game. It's a one-off game. Of course, Manchester United could have got something out of the Liverpool game. Of course they could. But on a one-off game. But let's be perfectly honest, we're the 13 points clear going into that game with Liverpool, and I think not many teams have taken points off them this season. Manchester United were one of them at Old Trafford. So the gulf is there in the Premier League this year. But let's cut away from the chase. What goes around, I'm a big believer, what goes around comes around. Liverpool Football Club are one of the great football clubs, along with Manchester United. Liverpool had their day for a long periods, and Manchester United were fighting to take the mantle off Liverpool, and then eventually, in Sir Alex's days, they took the mantle off Liverpool. And Liverpool have obviously, and it's taken Liverpool 30 years to basically get to where they are today. Yeah. 30 years now. I hope Manchester United, so they've had a rebuild, they've had to restructure everything within the club. Now, at Manchester United, you can virtually say that the similar situation is coming to the fore. There's a rebuild going on for whatever reason, and why that reason is, but there is a rebuild. As a Manchester United follower, I hope it don't take 30 years. Like it's taken Liverpool. I hope within the next few years we'll be back on track and we'll be up there competing with Liverpool and Manchester City. But listen, it goes a lot deeper, and it goes on to what... And if you listen to what the people who are close to the club, people like Gary Neville, who's been around that club and everything for over 20 years, you listen to Roy Keane, they've obviously got to be guarded to what they say. You listen to Patrice Evra, they've obviously got to be guarded in what they say. But believe you me, because they're in the know, they will be in the know, and they'll know more than what they're bringing to the fore, what is going on in the background. And I always believe there's no smoke without fire. So to that point these supporters that are trying to get Ollie out of the seats and say that Ollie shouldn't be the manager, leave off him. It's ridiculous because, okay, they can look at, he's a bit weak in his hand in terms of when you look at his CV doesn't really stack up to manage a club like Manchester United.
Yeah, but we've had them names there before.
Well, that's where I'm coming from. His predecessor, so you know, you look at Jose Mourinho, his CV more than stacks up. So, and he failed. Van Gaal before him failed. David Moyes failed. So basically, what's happening now is Ollie's holding the fort. He's doing his best with players that really aren't Manchester United players. Yeah. Now, where do we look for that? Now, obviously, there's a lot been made about recruitment and where the recruitment comes in. But where's it? So long before Ollie, the recruitment hasn't been the best at Manchester United. It can't have been, because you look at Leicester City. If you look at Leicester City, they recruited really, really well over years, and Steve Walsh was a big part of that recruitment process at Leicester City. Steve Walsh got headhunted by Everton Football Club and then moved to Everton Football Club. Did that derail Leicester City? No, it didn't. They've still gone out there and recruited quite.
But you spoke about this last week on last week's show regarding, you know, the infrastructure at a club. It's not always
this is right.
On the manager. It's what's going on behind
the scenes, and this is where I come from. And you can go. So if we look at a situation like, how can I explain? Probably a few years ago, after Blackburn Rovers was a big club in terms of punching above their weight when Jack Walker, God rest his soul, was alive. Then the Vankies invested into Blackburn Rovers. Now, they're in India, they're Indian based. Now, I think this is where football clubs make a mistake, because do the Venkies really know a lot about football? I can't answer that question, but I would say no. But what they've done, they entrust the people that's already the board at Blackburn Rovers to conduct and run their affairs. So they're in India, they're conducting. So if these people at board level then, in reality, aren't answerable to anybody. Because if you go back in the day, used to be, what had happened is, back in the day, let's be honest, going back to the Bob Lord era at Burnley and the Louis Edwards era at Manchester United, they owned the club. Bob Lord owned Burnley Football Club, Louis Edwards owned Manchester United Football Club. Now, as I was growing up, I could have gone to either. I could have gone to Burnley because my mum and dad were staunch, late mum and dad were staunch Burnley supporters. I could have gone and followed Burnley, and I still follow Burnley. I want Burnley to do well. Of course I do. They're just over the hill from us. But if you look at it, Bob Lord in the meat market, he owned Burnley Football Club, so everybody was answerable to Bob Lord. If you take that to Manchester United, everybody was answerable to Louis Edwards at Manchester United. And the Louis Edwards family owned the club. Were I really bothered about who owns a football club? Am I really bothered whether it's Louis Edwards, late Louis Edwards, whether it's Bob Lord? I wasn't. Or whether the Vankies own Blackburn Rovers. I'm not bothered. As a supporter or a follower of a football club, what drew me was I was overawed when somebody asked me and said to me, I'll take you to Manchester United. And I arrived at Old Trafford, the first time I ever went, and I remember going in, and I was overawed because all I want to see in live flesh is Dennis Law, Bobby Charlton, George Best, Nobby Stiles. I wasn't interested in who owned the club. I'm not interested. I just wanted to see them. And then I'd want to see collectively Manchester United winning football matches. And if you turn that onto Burnley supporters, I'm sure Burnley supporters will say exactly the same.
Do you think a lot of supporters tend to get on the backs when they're going through a bad spell?
Well, of course they do.
Because if you're winning,
it's frustration.
Rosy.
Everybody's frustrated. Were I frustrated yesterday watching that game? Of course you were. Of course I were. Was all the Manchester United? Of course we are. But it's easy to blame Ollie. Ollie's done his best with what he can do.
Well, he's only been there 2 minutes.
It's ridiculous, and his options are limited. And listen, we can all be managers. We can all be managers, no matter where you go. Everybody is a manager, right? We hear it, we go on. It's no surprise that Burnley won on Sunday against Leicester City,
and everyone's blowing trumpets.
All of a sudden, the people who I watch on the social media that's been knocking Dyche and trying to advise him how to pick this and pick that, and saying he couldn't pick his nose and everything else. All of a sudden, they're blowing smoke up his backside yesterday because they get a win.
But football is fickle.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, and I've said this for many years, if like the England team, let's talk about the England team for a little second. You've got the England team, and what happens is everybody could go in a room and we'd all go and stand in a corner and don't deliberate with each other, and we'll say, what team do you think Gareth Southgate should pick? And I'll guarantee when we put them papers back in, we might not be a million miles away, but we'll not all agree on somewhere along the line with that team. We'll all have a different opinion about the team, and that goes throughout football. So we can all try and be managers. But going back to the situation at these football clubs, and going back to Vanke's and Manchester United, which are what I think is happening at Manchester United, the Vanke's have invested in the club. They're over in India. They've entrusted people in England to run their football club, and the decisions aren't being made by Vanke's. The decisions are being made by the people that was operating Blackburn at that particular time. But it's the Vanke's that have been getting the brunt of it. If we turn that on Manchester United, there's a lot of anti-Glaziers going on there. Again, I'm not interested in what they're doing. If they own the club, they own the club. Look, it's there. Put up with it. They own the club. Whether we like it or we don't like it, whether we like that Murdoch, if he invested in Manchester United and he owned the club, not everybody liked Murdoch owning the club. So somebody has to own the club or owns the club. So it happens to be the Glaziers. Now, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, we could be talking balls, but the Glaziers, and it's immaterial what they do, is they've put money up for managers or the chief exec to spend on players. Now, they're not getting involved in the recruitment, they just put the money up. Now then, this is where I think it has gone dramatically pear-shaped at Manchester United. And think about it. In Sir Alex's days, all that time, nobody could get in Manchester United at any level unless you were vetted and gone through Sir Alex Ferguson, because he was operating that football club, which is kind of what I were hinting at on my previous podcast when I said you need somebody that stays with the football club, that knows the football club, that can make a lot of the decisions, and then you get people in places underneath. Well, Sir Alex were that kind of guy, and he's got the right people within place at the club. Unfortunately, as much as we'd like Sir Alex to go on forevermore, it didn't happen. Do I think that Sir Alex made a slight mistake when he was ready for stepping back? Yeah, I do, in a way. I do. And I think the mistake that what he should have done for a continuity at Manchester United, with Sir Alex a big part of the club, I think he should have slowly pushed
someone like Giggs.
Ryan Giggs forward.
So nurture somebody into that role.
Whilst he's still there, and not make no announcements with the press, not do nothing, gradually give Ryan more and more.
So somebody like Ryan, if not Ryan, someone could shadow Alex Ferguson through like a 6-month period. Yeah,
but he doesn't make no announcements that he's retiring or anything. He just to take the pressure off. So more and more he's giving Giggs there,
feeding him
more responsibility. Just stepping. Fergie's still there. Fergie's in the background. Fergie's still going, probably doing the media, speaking to the media.
Why do you think that never happened then, Brent?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not privy to what's going on. But one thing's for Stonewall certain that did happen. Whilst that didn't happen, one thing is, Sir Alex were obviously a pivotal, massive part in the fact that David Moyes got the job at Manchester United.
I think everyone's aware of that, aren't they?
Whether you thought that was the right appointment or you didn't think that was the right appointment, again, it's opinions. And again, some of these people who follow Manchester United will go against the appointment because he was a former Everton manager.
But maybe Fergie thought that Moisey was on the same page as...
Well, yeah, that's right. But
in his way of thinking, his mindset.
It's got nothing to do with Fergie, and it's got nothing to do with David Moyes. It's the people that support the club, because it's like, if you take now... I mean, I'm digressing again a bit because you're taking me off my
it's all right, I'll keep doing it.
But I think the nearest to where Manchester United play and the traditions of Manchester United, there's only one manager currently in this country that would touch anywhere near Manchester United way. But if he was appointed, the man I'm talking about was appointed manager of Manchester United, there'd be hue and cry, only because he's been the manager of Liverpool. So there'd be a hue and cry, which is wrong. It's totally ridiculous. And that is Brendan Rodgers, because I think Brendan, you know, if you look at Leicester and how they play,
he fits
you
that
know,
bill.
he fits the bill. And he'd do really well at Manchester United. So what I'm getting back to David, the David Moyes situation, there's people out there, oh, Moyes should not have fit our club, he's not fit for our club, he shouldn't have been in our club, blah, 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 blah. Why? Because he managed Everton. Bonkers, ridiculous. It doesn't matter who you manage, you know, at the end of the day.
That is balls.
It is balls, it's total balls. So, but Sir Alex has put his oar in and said that David Moyes, right, so okay, Manchester United, but the person who is answerable to the Glaziers, as Sir Alex bows out and David Gill bow out, which they both bowed out together virtually at the same time, is left to Ed Woodward. Now, I don't know, again, these are where I might be talking balls, but I'm sure that Gary Neville will know more, and that's why if you listen and take on board...
You can read between the lines.
You can read between the lines. So straight away, Ed Woodward has come in. So he's got the person that was blocking anything that Ed Woodward wanted to really do was Sir Alex, because he couldn't shift Sir Alex. As soon as Sir Alex isn't there, he gets his feet under the table. So what happens is, he gets his feet under the table. I'm running this club now. On behalf of the Glazers and the fans, I'm running this club, so he makes decisions. Now, how can you make a decision in any manager, whether you like him, love him or loathe him, how can you make a decision on a manager when he's only been in the job 10 months? Absolutely ridiculous.
You can't, can you?
That's another one that's balls. It's ridiculous, and he gets sacked. So that wouldn't have been the Glaziers.
No.
That would have been certainly weren't Sir Alex Ferguson. It weren't David Gill. So it can only be Ed Woodward who's made that decision. And Gary Neville says it many, many, many times.
But
I'm passionate about this.
Was that not a nervousness though, coming from the terraces?
Well, Gary Neville touches
Echoing
on
down
it.
Into
Gary Neville, and he doesn't go in it 100% because he's got to probably be careful. But if you listen to him, I could be talking balls here, but if you listen to him, he turns round and he says, who is he answerable to? The board. Who's on the board? Let's be honest, and I'm not being we can't be disrespectful here to Sir Bobby Charlton, but he's a board member. But come on, let's be perfectly honest about this. Does Sir Bobby Charlton...
Bobby's not a businessman, though.
But it doesn't matter whether he's a businessman or he's not a businessman. At his age, now, does he really want to be making absolute critical business board football decisions?
Not a cat in
at his age. He's a board member, of course he is. And he's a respectable guy throughout the world. And we should respect that. But he's not going to go and challenge whoever's in charge, Ed Woodward. He's not going to go and challenge him.
No.
So who's challenging Ed Woodward? And I think that's what Gary Neville's getting at. So the issue you've got is this Ed Woodward is, I could be wrong, he might be the greatest thing since sliced bread, I don't know, but it doesn't seem that way. And what's happening is, you know, the recruitment, what's happened is he's sacked a manager, and then he brings his own man in, who's obviously his own man must have been Louis van Gaal. But his CV stacks up.
And that's not worked.
So then he goes, And then the next one they bring in because he's trying to... is Jose Mourinho. That doesn't work. So now they've gone to Ole, and it's easy for these supporters to turn around and go, oh, well, look at this, he's only done more. He's only done this, he's only done that. Hang on, give the guy a chance.
So 4 managers, you've just named 4 managers. Moyes, Gall, Mourinho, and then Ole. 4 managers can't be getting it wrong. There must be something else going on.
Which is what I'm touching on, sure.
Which is what Gary Neville and I think even Roy Keane picked up on as well.
Well, exactly. And Roy Keane lost it yesterday a little bit with Carragher.
From the hip, doesn't it?
Well, you know, we'll talk about Roy Keane. I think there's a position for Roy Keane at Manchester United. I've always said it. You know,
but he's not a yes man. So how's that going to go?
He should be. If anybody should be director of football or upstairs, he should be Roy Keane, because Roy Keane is passionate for the club. He loves the club.
And he doesn't care what people think of him.
Exactly, and that's exactly right.
There's a bloke called Brent Peters. He's a bit like that.
Well, they get
like my mate.
Listen, exactly, and I'm not bothered because at the end of the day, I say what I think, I say what I feel, and one thing's for sure, I don't talk behind people's back. If I don't like somebody, I'll tell you to your face.
Yeah, and that is Roy Keane.
Exactly.
So there is a job for him there.
And the people that don't like me, by the way, are the people that's overstepped a mark, whatever, whether it be in business or whatever.
And they've been called out.
And then I have goes at them. Because I'll challenge anything. I mean, at the end of the day. But you know what? I'll do anything for anybody. And I guarantee Roy Keane will.
Certainly. We're going to be chatting quite a lot this morning. We've been on 44 minutes. Hopefully, you're watching this on Facebook Live. We're working with some new software here at Bacup Borough Football Club, part of the Sports Bar Show. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us, if I press this button here, Brent, if you want to get in touch, you can get in touch via Facebook. We're also on Twitter. Hey, it's working. And you can go along to the Bacup Borough media page on our YouTube. There's some videos on there. And if you want to, you can also take yourself along. If I just press, get rid of that, Mr. Brown. If I press that one, then yeah, you can go along to our webpage as well, which is www.bacupboroughfc.com. And if you want to be a part of the show, live and interactive as we are, hopefully, then you can leave your comments on our contacts page on our website. So take yourself along there. We're going to be coming back after a few ads and, talking more balls, chewing the fat and talking balls on the Sports Bar Show. Electric. Yeah.
When I'm going back, I was getting electric.
welcome back to the Sports Bar Show. This is a live stream test on Facebook Live. Hopefully you're watching us this morning. If not, hopefully you're watching us later on when you finish work. He's had his pills.
I take them every morning, believe me.
If you were tuned in about 2.5 minutes ago, you were almost climbing the walls there, weren't you?
Well,
but you're passionate about it.
I am passionate. Listen, one thing about me is I'm a football person. I might follow Manchester United, and they're my team. I appreciate Liverpool. A lot of Manchester United supporters won't, only because it's Liverpool, but I appreciate Liverpool.
I used to be the same with...
absolutely fantastic football.
With Blackburn
and
Rovers.
You know what? I really, really... They deserve to win the Premiership. It's not over with yet by a long chalk, but they deserve to win the Premiership if they can get over this next few weeks. But equally, I look at Burnley, I look at my ex-clubs, and because I've got connections, with Matty James at Leicester City, I care about Leicester. I take an interest in Leicester City, and Reece James at Doncaster Rovers. Well, Doncaster's an ex-club, so I take an interest. But I like football in general, and I might follow Manchester United, and it really hurts me what's happening at Manchester United, like it hurts a lot of other supporters at Manchester United, especially the old. But I've witnessed a relegation for Manchester United.
Yeah. That's going back a few years, though, Brent.
It is going back a few years, yeah. But I witnessed it. Dennis Law, that back heel that sent him down, playing for Man City. I was there at Old Trafford.
Was that the last kick of the game for...
more or less, I think so, yeah. More
Looked sick as a parrot that day, did...
well, it would be, because, but you talk about football and rivalries, but how is there... I mean, Brian Kidd's at Man City. He's been there for several years at Man City, but Brian Kidd, at 19-year-old, played for Manchester United in 19 when they won the European Cup. So all this because you've managed Liverpool, you've managed Everton, and you've managed. It's bonkers. At the end of the day, that's once you're employed by a football club, whoever that football club is, you're 100% behind that football club. But you'll still have a feeling and a passion for. Your roots are where you come from, and the football club's there. I mean, it devastated me when Burnley were almost going out the league, and who'd have wanted to see Burnley go out the league? Exactly. I mean, this rivalry. I mean, sometimes I forget when I'm going to the bank, in Burnley, and sometimes I can, especially in summer, I've got my shorts on, I'm walking through Burnley, and they've got Manchester United badge on them. I mean, it was funny one day.
It's not on purpose.
No, exactly. I were in Burnley. I were in the bank one day, and I had my Leicester City coat on because I got a Leicester City coat given, would you believe, a manager's coat. And I'm out in Burnley. I've got this manager's coat on, and this guy looked at me, and he looked at my badge, and he's gone, Leicester City supporter, are you? And I went, says Tesco's on side of buses, but it don't mean to say I'm going there. You know what I mean?
Silence.
Yeah.
But... finally, I just want to pick up on some good news at the weekend. We had some really good news at 5 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon because Gareth Wager has rejoined the club. Had some very good times, some good memories here at Bacup Borough, and an experienced player brought back to the club, Brent.
Yeah, Gareth. I mean, I targeted Gareth when he was playing for Abbey many seasons ago, quite a few seasons ago. I went and I managed to attract him to Bacup Borough, and he came and he spent several seasons here. And I went back to Abbey and I got his best mate, Daniel Cox, here in the earlier days. So we had Daniel Cox here, I had Gareth Wager here, two great lads, two good club lads, and two in different ways, exceptionally very, very good players. I mean, Gareth Wager. I would say that Gareth Wager this is again about different kinds of centre backs. In my opinion, Gareth Wager is probably the best sweeper around the North West Counties League, and probably the Evo Stick sweeper. He's
the way that he can read a game.
Yeah, he reads the game. He's a good talker, organiser, but he's also got that aggression in him as well. I mean. He's had some successful times when he's played under me here at Bacup Borough. And the reason why, you know, that came to an end, and it's just the way that, you know, all good things have to come to an end sometimes. And I always remember it, and I was a little bit disappointed with Gareth at the time, is that he was playing with an injury. And I remember in the playoff final, and we were all disappointed when we lost that playoff final, and it had gone to extra time, and we were all disappointed, and we had a very, very good side then. And I remember Gareth turning around in the changing room to the lads, look, boys, you know, we all need to stick together. We'll have a great pre-season, and then we'll come back and we'll hit the ground running, and we'll take this league and we'll get promoted. So that talk from Gareth, and it spurred everybody on. It certainly spurred me on, because I'm buzzing. You know, like, yeah, you know, I won't have to rebuild. We're all together. You know, I'm not going to lose anybody. We're all going to come back. And would you believe? So when you're building a team in your mind, and you're in the close season, and you start to build a team, and you put your jigsaws in, my team was starting to be built for the new season in my mind, starting with Gareth Wager, basically, because, like I said, he's probably the best sweeper in the league, and we was playing a way that would get the best out of Gareth Wager playing that role. So when we arrived back in the for pre-season, Gareth came back, but he broke down in pre-season, and he still had the same injury and hadn't done anything with it during the close season, which really disappointed me a little bit. Obviously, Gareth will have his reasons why that didn't happen. So I sent him to our physio, who we use, which I think he touched on his interview on Saturday, which was Ian Liversidge. And Ian Liversidge came back, and Ian said, because the season was starting and it was new, he's basically told him, you're going to have an operation, Gareth. But he said, look, you will get through games. He said, but you're never going to be playing twice a week. You're going to have to just recover before your next game. But you'll not play twice a week. Well, as a manager, no matter how much I respect Gareth, no matter how much I think he's a fantastic player, I, as a manager, couldn't have a situation where I'm picking Gareth on a Saturday, and because he's got this injury that's niggle, he's not available for the Tuesday or Wednesday.
Because that's going to send the wrong message out to the rest of the team.
Well, exactly. And that's where, and I don't think Gareth...
And then having favourites, which is something you don't work on.
No. So that's why it got to the situation. Gareth said, so you're not going to be playing me? And I went, I can't, Gareth. I can't run it that sort of that way. No. It can't happen.
Not if someone has a good game and then you're going to take them out.
It sends the wrong message. So what happened were, he played a few. He was still in the squad. He was on the bench. Didn't like it because he wanted to be playing, and that's when with the parting of the ways, I wasn't probably the flavour of the month with him at that point. But listen, as a manager, you've got to make big decisions, and he knows that because he's a manager himself in his everyday. In his job, his employment, he's a manager, he has to manage people. So he knows that, and he knows deep down I was probably 100% right. The problem is, obviously at that time, he didn't, and he was a bit upset, and that's when the parting of the ways came. But do you know what really, he's been and had his operation, he's now gone into recovery, he's done the recovery, and this is his home really, his family, and he's touched on that. He wants... You know, when I first muted it, I actually muted it through via Daniel Cox because he's close to, and he must have turned around to Daniel and Daniel must have said to him, what happens if Brent comes calling for you? And he must have said, oh, well, he said, that's a no-brainer, isn't it? I always like to go home. And enough said.
Because it was in the club on Saturday, and it was the players, Debs and everyone else. It was as if he's never been away.
Exactly, they love him. He's a great lad.
And a poet, I believe.
Oh, he's a poet. When he's
we're gonna get Gareth Wager on the Sports Bar show doing some poetry. Can you imagine that? Poetry from Gareth Wager. We've got some right cookeries, haven't we? Jimmy Petrucci, spiritual and well-being.
Oh yeah, but also throw that one in the late Roy Orbison tribute. He wants to do that. Well, I don't know whether he's...
and Sean Greenwood as well, doing his Michael Jackson moonwalk.
Well, Honestly, this club, it must be the Bacup air.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Go on, one more thing.
But one thing,
Yeah.
it's all about the jelly babies.
Yeah, tell us. Yeah, the jelly babies. People have been reacting to the jelly babies.
I'll tell you, it's all about
You got
them.
2 packets at Everton.
Oh, I got presented. Ian Williams, who's on the committee of the North West Counties, coming out and sort me out.
Yeah.
But Ian, I've
They were
just
looking
got
for jelly beans.
Ian, you've got to listen to the podcast. You know, you've got to listen.
Jelly
Apparently,
beans aren't jelly babies.
he was going round asking shots. Have you got any jelly beans? Because he wanted to present him and he went, not jelly beans. So he had to listen to the podcast again.
Yeah.
But at least it got our viewing figures up, didn't it? By listening to it again.
And then even the assistants and the referee from the weekend.
Saturday, they've been watching it and they're going on about the sexes. And then I had an email, would you believe? I had an email complimenting the lads.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, he said, you know what? I actually bought a packet of jelly babies, and you're right. I still couldn't sort the sexes out in the jelly babies.
Who's making jelly babies now? Is it? Well, it won't be Roundtree. Is it sold out to Nestle maybe or something?
I don't know.
We need to get them down here with a camera crew, doing an advertisement with the Bacup Borough lad. You know, these that give you extra energy.
Well, whoever can sort the sexes out in them is going to be a multi-millionaire, I think.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Hopefully you have been watching this morning. The time is 11:38. Sports Bar Show live this morning from Bacup Borough, trying out some new equipment here in the sports bar. If you want to get in touch with us, if this works, I'm hoping this works, you can get in touch with us on our Facebook page. You can also find us on the Twitter. A lot of the information and all the match highlights go on the Twitter page and the YouTube page as well. So there's 3 separate platforms you can find us. And of course, if you want to get in touch via our webpage, you can do that as well. And that is all the W's, bacupboroughfc.com. Just take yourself along, have a look at some of the articles, some of the video footage, and if you've got anything you want to try and say to us, or maybe you want to get involved with commercial, sponsorship, all those kind of things, then please go to the contacts page or the contents page and leave a brief description there. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Let's hope this has worked, sir. I hope it has.
I hope so,
and if it has, we will see you later on this week. But we'll put all the posts on our social media platforms, so we'll let you know when we're back live. Been a pleasure.
Remember, it's about the jelly babies. The sexes.
No one could do it.
Sort it out.
Victory V.
That's good.